What's going on, everyone? In this video, we're going to be doing the weekly recap of the stocked up trading floor and happy new all-time highs as the stock market made new all-time highs last week and actually had its quickest recovery and return to all-time highs ever, which is pretty cool. So with that being said, let's jump right into this week's recap. All of the theta trades expired for max profit, which is great to see. Basically, if you don't short puts already, it's a great strategy to potentially acquire good long-term holdings while getting paid to do so. Not only is this an advantageous position to begin with, but the put options that you sell are theoretically a little bit more expensive than they should be, which works to your favor over the long term. If you need help with this, feel free to reach out to Tom, Hunter, Mason, or myself in SM chat, and we'll make sure you're taken care of. But besides that, jumping into the high-risk scalps and pullbacks for this week, we could see starting off the week, pretty good action out of Teladoc, Tesla, Rocket Lab, and ZETA. There were a handful of decent moves as well, and then some trades that were duds like OXY and Lemonade. So overall, I would say this sort of price action definitely continued throughout the week. There weren't any grand slam home run 1,000%ers, but there was a lot of good respectable action. Like we could see on the 24th, we had 5 plays with over 140% moves. We had a lot of trades that popped up by 79, 80, 84%, and of course some plays that didn't really pop up that much. But even the ones that didn't pop up that much, there weren't too many of them that this week, which is good. And again, I will say that this sort of type of price action was pretty much the same throughout the week. We could see on the 25th, there's especially good movement out of NVIDIA as those call options popped up by 305%. There were a handful more trades that didn't move as crazy on the 25th, as there were 4 trades that, just popped up by 13% or less, where, there were a handful of trades that also popped up by 156% or 145%. So, it certainly wasn't a bad week. I would just say there weren't any mega home runs, but that is certainly expected, and definitely no complaints with the price action from this past week. Looking on the 26th, again, decent action. We can see there were a lot of trades that moved up by anywhere from 30% to 77%, which is definitely respectable. Sometimes there are just no pitches that are home run worthy, but there were definitely some good opportunities, which is good. Looking at Friday, again, we could see really good action out of Boeing and Palantir, both of which had options move up by over 200%. And, we could see a handful of plays that popped up between 113% and 35% as well, plus a couple duds thrown in there too. But certainly no complaints. Pullbacks is basically the same thing, just to a different degree. We could see on the 23rd, really good action out of Rocket Lab and HIMS. Both of these moved up very nicely, and the other ones were duds. Most of the opportunity is concentrated in the fewest setups, as the same could be said with the S&P 500 as a whole, which is where the non-equal weighting really shows why it's so useful and why the market is designed that way. With pullbacks, you tend to see slower, smoother moves, so the percentage increase doesn't tend to be as crazy because a lot of times the strongest setups don't even pull back at all. But the nice trade-off with pullback setups is, again, they tend to be a little bit slower and smoother, which can definitely be great for a lot of people. So yeah, that is it for this week. We're at all-time highs, so it should be an exciting week. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great rest of your weekend.